Welcome to the AI Accelerator Podcast, where we get past the hype and into what actually works. Practical insights and real-world use cases you can apply in your career and your company. Today's guest isn't just talking about agentic AI, she's shipping it at scale. Priya Lakshminarayanan is the Chief Product Officer at Recurly, which is the subscription platform behind brands like Paramount Plus and Twitch, serving over 76 million subscribers. She spent 25 years building product at Microsoft, PayPal, Meta, and Brex, and now leads Recurly Compass, which is an AI engine that doesn't just analyze the business, it takes action. Priya, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Matt. It's great to be here and talking about AI and acceleration. I'm the Chief Product Officer at Recurly. Recurly is a subscription management and recurring billing platform. We help businesses, like you mentioned, household names, Paramount, Twitch, etc., handle the complexities of the subscription business model. Our mission right now is to set subscription growth on autopilot, utilizing AI technology, agentic workflows, etc., for our merchants.
So let's walk through your progression, because your resume is spectacular. So you built products at Microsoft and PayPal, Meta, these big names, Brex, right? And now you're CPO at Recurly. So walk us through the journey of how your career progressed and what pulled you into the subscription economy with a lot of things, unfolding in the tech world today.
Yeah, absolutely. Believe it or not, I started as an intern at Microsoft. Those days they would pamper us quite a bit with goodies and trips to Redmond, and I drank the Kool-Aid and didn't look back for 12 years. It was a fantastic ride at Microsoft, where I started out as an engineer, and then early days of Azure, I moved into product management. They wanted somebody with a technical background to help our customers sort of migrate onto the Azure platform. And then, went to other enterprise companies after that. EMC built storage products at EMC based on hybrid clouds, connecting on-premise storage to, other clouds like AWS and Azure, etc. And then went to PayPal worked on fintech there, and then Meta, worked on commerce. So early days of COVID, commerce was just online commerce was going through the roof. So it was a fantastic experience at Meta, building trust and safety products for commerce. So ensuring that buyers on Facebook, Instagram, etc., can truly trust that we are selling the right products, they're engaging with the right sellers. And then after that, moved to Brex to work on expense management and corporate credit card products. Really got into it was I would say early days of AI. November 22 is when ChatGPT came out. 22 is when I joined Brex, and so a lot of experimentation at Brex, working on assistance and how to do continuous finance with AI workflows, etc. And now at Recurly, truly building agentic workflows for our merchants for revenue optimization.
Wow, there's so many pieces there. You have such a variety of product experience. This is really exciting. There's be a lot of things we can unpack here in our in our podcast together, Priya. I'm excited. So let's talk about Recurly for what you're doing there. I know that part of what Recurly does and what you do there, leading product, is managing the subscriber life cycle, right? So can you explain what that means to maybe people who are outside the tech space, or maybe not in the subscriber tech space?
Yeah, absolutely. I think everybody is sort of knowing or unknowingly aware of subscriptions or using subscriptions. Like if you hit subscribe and save because you knew you would need that product again in 2-3 months on Amazon, and hit that button, then you are a subscriber, right? And people have many subscriptions like Netflix and other streaming platforms as well. And so our goal is to help merchants sort of go through the entire consumer journey of acquiring consumers who then become subscribers, and then activating them, retaining them, and growing their subscriber base with them for a good lifetime value. while they provide more products and more innovation on top of their existing platform. So that's sort of what we think about as the subscriber lifecycle or journey. So they launch new products, they acquire subscribers, they activate them, they then they want to retain those subscribers through more innovation in the product or service, and then they scale and grow their business. And through this entire life cycle or journey, Recurly wants to provide the right capabilities and services so that we are there every step along the way.
Wow, that's fantastic. So it's very much a B2B model, right? You're going after the larger enterprises that have subscription offerings, and you're helping them better manage the offerings, as you're saying, like reduce churn and just maximize subscriber benefit, revenue, etc.
Yeah, we predominantly work with merchants who are high volume of subscriptions, low order value, like $14.99, $9.99, like the streaming media platforms, like I mentioned. They accept consumer payments, so direct to consumer services. We also have quite a few B2B merchants on the platform, so sort of span the spectrum, if you will.
That's fascinating. Not being a subscription expert myself, not having that type of experience, question and curiosity I have is where in the world of AI, or where is AI making the biggest measurable difference right now? Is it more on like preventing the churn, or is it winning people back? Is there another area, like what part of that life cycle is where you're really making an impact?
Yeah, I would say across the board, right? So when you think of like a purchase funnel, it's like discovery. How do consumers, discover your product? When they consider it, like comparisons. So you make sure that they choose your product to buy, and then they make the purchase, and then they stay on and retain. That's sort of the best outcome. So I think AI is making a difference in every step of that purchase funnel and over the lifetime of the subscriber. In discovery, I think in a more and more AI native world, the storefront will no longer be a website that you specifically go to. It could be your conversational interface. It's ChatGPT or Claude, your favorite AI platform, right, of choice. And you might go in and say, hey, what's the best way to watch, the NFL playoffs this weekend? Or, the show called The Bureau on Paramount. And the agent will now act as on your behalf, like it will go discover what's the cheapest way or the fastest way for you to get access to that content. And it'll provide a comparison engine, platform A versus B. This is the price you would pay. They have a pay-per-view on Amazon, but on Paramount, you have to buy the subscription with a free trial. So it can give you all of these options. And so now discovery is through an AI storefront or AI channel, if you will. And then when you make the consideration, there's AI there as well around, fast native checkout, the payment methods you choose, you apply that. And then once they purchase the product, they experience it, there's AI recommendations there. And then, when you decide, okay, I've watched this series, now I want to cancel my subscription, then you can imagine that Paramount would come back and say, hey, how about 50% off for the next 3 months? And those recommendations are also AI driven, and so that we can know the churn propensity, like you said, and then help our merchants retain customers on the platform. So I would say sort of there's AI. I think the middle part of the funnel, there was AI for a long time. Now the discovery and just-in-time customization of retention offers, etc. More and more, I would say generative AI is playing a part.
Yeah, that's fascinating. There's an aspect that you mentioned there about about discovery and people coming in, and then I guess it could happen anytime during the life cycle. I'd like to ask about failed payment revenue. So this is a big thing, right? If you're selling something, especially to millions of people.
Correct.
And I know that's part of what Recurly assists with. And I think it was to the tune of like $1.6 billion and maybe to date, or maybe it's I don't know what that is. But can you talk a little bit about failed payment revenue and how Recurly helps with that particular side of subscriptions?
Yeah, absolutely. We call it as intelligent retries. So when a subscriber puts down, a payment method for, when they purchase the subscription, and we then retry on the whatever, if it's a monthly plan, monthly, or a quarterly plan, etc. But credit card numbers change all the time. Fraud happens, it gets canceled. A lot of times, there are different reasons because of which a transaction might not go through, right? It might be insufficient funds. It might be the reasons that I mentioned earlier. And so what Recurly helps with is we have a machine learning model that determines how to intelligently retry the failed transactions, what time of day, when is payday for a particular subscriber of a certain, age or industry they're in, etc. And retry at that optimal time so that we increase the success rate of the transaction and recover more revenue for our merchants. There's also what we call as a dunning window. A dunning just means that, what is the time period during which you will inform the consumer of, hey, you have a payment due, now the payment is overdue, you need to update. And so you can increasingly raise the urgency for them that your subscription might get canceled if you don't pay in 5 days. And so that series of communication also Recurly helps with. And then over that time period, we do multiple retry attempts, which is what is sort of together is intelligent retries plus dunning optimizations that we offer.
That's fascinating. So on the product side, like about how large is the product organization there that does product development and so forth? Like how big is Recurly's product organization? Like number of employees, or I'm just curious.
Yeah, we totally around 350 or so employees. We are spread out geographically in Medellin, Colombia, in Austin, in Denver, etc. We also have quite a few employees in the Bay Area. The product org is about 11 or 12 people. We have designers, and then we also have product owners and program managers, etc. So together we are looking at also evolving how we build products and taking that product development lifecycle to a more AI native one. So we're going through that right now with building a PRD skill in Claude that generates the PRD that automatically is then fed into to code generate, and then that is reviewed by a senior principal engineer, goes into evals, and then auto deploys. So that is sort of our dream cycle, where then the product managers, designers, product owners, etc., can then be more customer focused, can look at new business opportunities. How do we test things more often and iterate more? So it's an exciting time.
That's beautiful. You started to answer my next question, which is like, what type of AI models do you use internally? Are you starting to notice benefit from that from a product development perspective? And I guess related to that is like, what type of data do you collect from the marketplace, from your clients, et cetera, to sort of feed that product development life cycle? Because I know AI is great at looking across a lot of data, especially complex data. I'm just curious, sort of big picture from a product development cycle. I know you mentioned you're using Claude, Claude Code, which is super powerful model. Can you talk a little bit about like what type of data are you collecting in so you can improve the product? So sort of the learning engine that you're building in between humans and AI. Obviously, it's not just all AI, but just like how do you approach the data collection and then product molding the clay of the next generation of the product?
Yeah, absolutely. We of course track adoption and usage data we have a merchant facing product. So, admins who come in and create new subscription plans, set pricing for their subscriptions, create coupons, create offers, etc. That then they launch. So we sort of have usage data on how they're using our platform itself. And then we have a lot of data around the actual payment that we capture for the merchants, right? Transaction data that we then use to determine the retry timing and better revenue recovery for our merchants based on that as well. And so the key thing is it's not just one merchant. We have many merchants in a vertical. So based on vertical specific, we could say digital media and streaming, in addition to monthly plans, you can offer like weekend passes for certain events, and you will do better because you will acquire net new subscribers. So we are able to provide insights like that to our merchants that then help them grow their revenue as well as acquire more subscribers. And then on the churn side, we also have a product called Recurly Engage, which allows us to, on the subscriber side, allows our merchants to deploy what we call as prompts based on actions that the subscribers are taking on their app or website or in the TV app, etc. So as they're about to cancel, we can track that and then present an offer based on how long the subscriber has stayed on the platform, how much do they use the product today, and that then helps with churn mitigation.
Wow, you're so I'm sure your team is probably 2, 3, 5 times more effective than they would be without AI. Like without AI, it's just so much. Everything you just shared, there's so much involved with that, and it's only so much the human mind can cover, right? So
yeah, I mean, even designing an offer, right? Like I'm sure you must have seen some of those offers yourselves,
yeah,
based on the apps you use. Like I use an app called Better Me. It's like a health and fitness app where every day with small mini workouts you could do whenever you can fit in the time. And I didn't, because I was traveling for work, I didn't use it for a little while. And it sort of showed me a prompt saying, hey, you haven't used it in a little while. Like, do you want, X dollars off? Or so those prompts now we can help our merchants design those with the help of AI. So we've done an integration with Figma and our Compass Assistant where you can, using natural language, say, hey, I want you to increase the tone, more friendly or casual, things like that, where you don't need a whole copy team to go do it. You can try different iterations, you can run tests. So it's, we are now finding a lot of uses for how we can integrate.
that's fascinating. What's your favorite part, Priya, about your role? Because you've had a number of leadership roles across different companies, and obviously you're where you're at now for a reason. What's your favorite part? Is it working with the team internally? Is it designing the new products? Is it the creativity involved with that? Is it more of interacting with the clients? I guess. What's your favorite part about leading product?
I mean, definitely once you launch a product and a customer uses it and their mind is blown, that's sort of my favorite part of getting the product actually in customers' hands and finding that it has changed somebody's life, right? And then more recently, normally, like if I have an idea, then I would sort of ping someone on my team, like, hey, let's get together a small pod to prototype this. For example, like I wanted to see how price optimization recommendations can look like what would that workflow be like? And I sort of just enlisted to our GitHub branch and had Claude Code and just asked Claude to generate a workflow for me for price optimization, and I was able to send that prototype to my team, and it just felt so empowering after a long time. Maybe because I started in engineering, and yeah, that was fantastic.
That is very, very cool. It's so much fun to have that power. I have a number of friends who are technical and non-technical who are doing so many amazing things now with AI, just with natural language and controlling it, working with code, GitHub, all these things.
Yeah.
Even though they were never able to work with it before. And you and I have engineering backgrounds, so we've seen that. We sort of could play there, but we didn't because we're in other roles. So that's fascinating. So with AI as an industry, as we're winding down, Priya, a couple questions. One is, what do you see as sort of the future of AI with the industry, whether it's with subscription-based offerings or whether it's just in general, AI and how it's affecting, the e-commerce, business today?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that AI is sort of transforming a lot of the static customer funnels into more hyper-personalized growth loops, if you will, for merchants. So it's and for people who are now builders, right? Everybody can be a builder now. It's sort of shifting from building traditional feature sets to like intelligent systems that can self-optimize over time, which is very exciting. Like even for us, setting subscription growth on autopilot, it might find patterns that we might not have found as Recurly to offer as insight. And so I think the future is quite promising.
That's fantastic. Last question as we're wrapping up. For a business leader out there who could be a potential client of Recurly in the future, or maybe they're a current client, what is your advice to them about how they should approach AI and how they should approach applying AI into their companies and so forth, whether it's with a vendor like Recurly or whether it's with just a general perspective? What's your advice for business leaders out there on the topic of AI today?
Yeah, I would say that don't think of adding AI into the product for just the sake of AI. Always think about what is the customer problem you're solving first. So in our case, we looked at it as, hey, retention is a problem. We keep hearing from our merchants. How do we solve the retention problem for them through the data that we have access to, through workflows that we can provide them? And so if AI doesn't reduce friction or save time or deliver measurable ROI to your customers, then it's sort of just noise and slop, as many of us have seen. And then definitely look for the data moat that you might have in your business. So look deep into what data you have access to, and then how you can translate that to great outcomes for your customers. And that translation would now you can do that easily with a lot of the Gen AI capabilities. And so just again, like not doing AI for AI's sake, I would also say that trust in all of this is a big thing. And so you have to also balance, automation with your end customer trust. And do they have controls? Some of our merchants ask us, I want to turn off Compass as a whole because of some regulatory industry that I'm in. And so we are building with that in mind, like auditability and trust controls. And that is very important as well.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Priya, thank you so much for all your insights, your time, your energy, and your attention, just for sharing your passions and your experience with our audience today. Really appreciate it. It's so great to have you on the podcast today.
Yeah, thank you so much, Matt. I really enjoyed this conversation, and thank you for having me here.